Ooh, yeah. Yep, this is today's spread. I did a spread for myself. Um, I had to. Oh man, I wanted to do a video yesterday. I really did. Especially considering the upload I made yesterday morning, Saturday morning. But I wasn't. I was tired. It was like a whole battle. I was really tired. A lot was brought to the light. This is challenging for me. These conversations with myself are challenging, let alone sharing it publicly, because I do believe that while we all have different ways of being and thinking, we are all gifts to each other. Even even the most heinous person, selfish person is a gift to someone, even if it's just a lesson of what not to do. you know, we're all gifts, and we all that responsibility is out of our hands. So I've been doing a lot of what I realize spiritual bypassing, a lot of like denying myself so that other people could feel safe, and so that other people could feel honored, and so that other people could feel protected um, and uplifted, honored, acknowledged. And it dawned on me yesterday that like I have been victimized by my mother. I have been victimized by her. She has been emotionally and mentally abusive to me, violent at times to me, physically violent with me in the past, verbally violent with me. And as much as anyone's desire is to love their mother, and be a good child to their parent, as much as anyone else would have done that, I've done that. I've lived that. And yesterday, it was out of her own mouth, it was brought to my attention that not only can she not see my perspective, she don't relate to it, she doesn't understand it. And so when there's an idea of like, let's get therapy, let's get help, she basically feels like I'm the one with the problem, so I should get the therapist. I should, if even if we're going to do group therapy, I am in charge of getting that together, because she don't have a problem. She feel like she loved me, she took care of me, she did the best she can, and whatever issues I have are just my issues, which is more emotional trauma and more emotional abuse. But she literally don't see it that way. And even me talking about this publicly, my family expressed, my grandmother, my mother expressed, they're uncomfortable sometimes when I talk on social media. I have a company, Gold Energy Management, where I assist people with, not just finding their purpose, but like how to live in that, how to be in that. And I basically shut my business down for the whole winter season, because I knew that I was turning 40, and something was bubbling up inside my subconscious, inside my mind and my psyche and my heart. And it was bubbling up faster than I could like understand what was happening. And the whole time I'm thinking, to be honest, me and my mom are like in this really great place. We've been talking more. I'm not like angry at her. I'm not having all this resentment. She seems to be coming closer to me emotionally. I'm coming closer to her. Like things are good. And I'm like, they're getting better. And then we have this hiccup in the road. And that's what I was willing to call it, a hiccup, and let's work through it. But in me wanting to work through it to honor the good vibes that we've been building, it was like the biggest rug being pulled under my, like, it was like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm not working through these issues. I'm tired of working through this stuff with you. And it was like, I don't even see what the problem is kind of energy. And I'm like, whoa. And my grandmother's there, and she's looking confused, because she's like, I just know your mother to love you. I mean, that's what she tells me all the time, that she loves you. And I'm like, that's what she tells me too. But someone telling you they love you and treating you like they love you and showing you they love you is very different. As women, we say that about men, like, oh girl, he said he love you, but if he's doing this, he's doing that, that's not actions of love. And for some reason, when it comes to people outside of our lovers, we don't have that same perception. We don't have that same judgment, if you will. It's like, oh, it's family. They can keep her. Me, it's family. Family ain't perfect, family. And for me, who's been like, I felt like an orphan my whole life. And for people, that's crazy because I was like literally raised with my mom, even though I was dropped off in another country for a few years. And then when we came back from that, a couple years later, we joined a Muslim cult where I was again separated from her. And then even when we got back to living in the same house when I'm 13 and all that, I feel like I've never had a mother. Like I've never had anyone to nurture me. I don't have any memories of my mom hugging me and kissing me, telling me she loved me. I have memories of her saying things like that to me, but it feel like a stranger or it feel like an abuser saying these things to you, you know? So I have many stories of her not showing up for me, rejecting me. And when I tell her these experiences I've had with her, it's often met with, well, you was a child, it wasn't like that. You seen it differently. Or she just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that. And it's like, she don't remember some of the most like mind altering, that's the way I can put it, moments and occurrences and circumstances that I was placed in because of her choices or her lack of choices. Like when you're, I don't think parents always understand that. Like when you have children, your choices impact these children who will be people. And based on how you reconcile these choices with these children, based on how you like, let them know that it's not them, it's based on how you communicate with them through it, based on how you treat yourself through it, others, your child is forming an opinion of themselves, the world, and you. Whether you like it or not, that's what's happening. And I've been working through mommy issues since I could remember. That's what made me go to therapy. I didn't, even though it's funny, even though I was in a relationship where my husband was beating me up, I didn't go to therapy for that when I was pregnant. I went to therapy and I remember telling my therapist, look, I don't want to sit here and talk about my mother forever. I don't want to be crying about this forever. I just want to heal my mind. For me, it was like, I want to feel capable. I want to feel like I could be in the world and do what I need to do. I want to feel free. I don't feel mentally free. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm always being confident from a place of like victimhood, from like, I have to be tough because, no one's going to be there for me. And I didn't like that feeling. Hell, I went through years where I was trying to like focus and really, really meditate upon the symbol with the heart, with the daggers through it, because I was like, this heart of mine gonna get me fucked up. I love people too deeply. I love them unconditionally. I remember going through my dark goddess initiations and trainings and having to learn about transactional love. And that shit was like, this is how I was raised. I don't want this, but still having to learn the lessons. And those were the times where I was able to get a grasp of the relationship I have with my mother and kind of like maneuver that way through transactional love, creating healthy boundaries. But to say I felt connected to my mom or even my family at one point, I didn't, I was like 5 years old, when my mom took me to another country, almost 6, take me to another country, leave me there under the guise of like, you're going to be with your dad. But I didn't want to be there. Like, we visited my dad. We're here in Trinidad. He's great. Wonderful. I love my daddy. But I'm in love with my mom. I'm one of those girls that was like a mommy's girl. I'm in love with my mom at a very young age. And what happens is she basically leaves me and my brother there. And it wasn't like she left us there for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. She left us in a whole nother country until I was 7 years old, going on 8. And in the meantime, she did get married. She had a big old beautiful storybook wedding. She had a flower girl and she had a ring bearer. But she had me and my brother. We was just in a whole nother country. It was like Flowers in the Attic type vibe. And when I bring this up to her, she's like, you trying to, like she said to me, you trying to define my life for me. You trying to put things on me that's not you. I got to walk on eggshells. It's like, I just want a relationship with my mom. I just want to be loved by my mother. I just want to feel like my mom cares about me. And that sounds so crazy because here I am. I'm 40 years old now. I turned 40 December 30th of 2020. And it's like, I feel like I'm at the beginning of that therapy session again. I was like, I don't want to make this about my mom. But here's the thing. My grandmother come in to talk to me, and it was a good talk because she's sharing her life story with me. But then my mom's at the table. My grandmother tells me that I want to talk to you and your mom and your daughter about my life story. I just want you guys to listen. I want to talk to you. And my mom's here, and we've been having like these hard conversations. What I said were hard conversations. My mom's like, I don't see why the conversation was hard. I don't understand why it was so rough. And I'm like, so she's there in the meeting or whatever. Like I was saying, they were here, and she's acting like, you know how bratty teenagers actually sit at the table. She got her arms crossed. She's not really making eye contact. I have a whole sofa, but my mom chooses to sit on the floor in the corner, even though I'm moving and things are around. It's my mom. Like you could be like, hey, can I sit here? Again, there's no connection. Like she don't want to connect to me. She don't want to feel me. I'm asking her questions the night before, this night before on the phone. Like, Mom, I just want a relationship with you. You was raised without your mom, and you know how that might have felt. And she was like, I don't relate to none of that. And then even in the meeting, she's like, I never missed my mother. My grandmother left my mom when she was 7 years old, and she didn't see her again until much later in her life, in her teens or whatever. Maybe a couple of times before that. I don't know. And that's another thing. So all these stories she tells me about her life, when I'm thinking we're having a moment of connection, when I bring it back up or when I talk about it, it's like, that didn't happen like that. And it's like, but that's what you told me. So now it's like this, it's like, are you lying or are you disassociating? And then even if you're doing either or, if I'm telling you as your daughter, this shit is hurting me, man. This shit is fucked up. It don't feel good. I feel like something's in between us. And you're just like, I don't know. That's you. So basically, I was thinking we were going to do some therapy together, maybe get a mediator so we could learn how to speak each other's language, heal this rift in our relationship. And she basically was like, I want you to focus on that. You get the therapist, because I personally don't feel like there's a problem. And that shit just threw me off. My daughter was there, so she was able to get some things off of her chest. And, we encountered some really violence towards us. Oof, just to talk about that. I was with someone who was physically abusive to me, mentally, a lot of things, and they were beating me up. And during the divorce thing, we're separated and the children are involved. He basically brutalized our daughter, who would have been 14 at the time, punched her in the face, kicked her in the face while she was down. Like, he jumped on our baby and did things to a child or your child that you would never. And then me as a mom who was getting beat up by this man froze and couldn't even protect her child. And my mom never showed up for us. Like, family didn't really show up. And then there were family members who wanted to show up, like men in the family who wanted to go see about this guy. And my mom was like, no, don't get involved. It's just going to end badly. And when I talk to these men in the family, they're like, nah, we didn't know. We would have been there. Fuck that. We would have been there. But we trusted what your mom was saying, not to intervene. That's not what was necessary. And it was most necessary at the time. It would have been, we were alone. The how that goes, what I had to do to secure my family, I did it alone. And when you think about what a mom is, everybody want a mother. Everybody want that person who's like going to be there for them in the world. Like, come rain or shine. Who don't want a mother? Who don't want a mommy? Like, who don't want that? Like, we watching Carbonation right now with people like Eligio Bishop and things like that. Certain people become abusive to others because they had no mother. Like, we see the effects of what not having a nurturing family support system can do to the nervous system, to the mind, to the psyche. And I'm fighting for my mom. I'm fighting there where I'm like, Mom, we can do this, and she's just like, that's your problem. I'm good. So it's like, on this Saturday, I learned that I am a motherless child. Like, it's not something that was like a psychological thing in my head. Like, this is what's happening to me. This is my perception of it. Like, it was very evident that my mother does not want to nurture me, knows that she never has. It's admitted on the phone to me that, I don't give nobody my heart. I ain't never gave nobody my heart, my full heart. And maybe you felt that as a child. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't even know that's what it was. But if that's what you're telling me it was, then wow. I mean, who has a child and don't love them, don't give them their full heart? And this is what you're telling me. And then again, this is something that She may watch this video and be like, I didn't say it like that, or I didn't say that, or I didn't mean that, or you're taking it and twisting it, which has been the story of my life. When I hold her accountable to the things she said or done, she either says, I don't remember that. That's not fair because that's not what I think happened. Or we have different definition of words. And it's like, no, the definition of the word is the definition of the word. So it's very sad for me right now, because this was something that I thought I was going to avoid. Like, we were going to have a relationship, and we may still, but like I told her, me coming and chasing you for a relationship, I am no longer going to do, especially with you expressing to me that you really don't care to help heal me. You don't want to be a part of that. You don't even see it as necessary, as you have no problem. You don't have an issue. So it's my issue. So it's like, wow, okay. So it was freeing in the sense of like, I don't have to worry about this woman anymore in the capacity of being my mother. And that's challenging because I think I've been holding on to this idea of we can heal the relationship for so long that I'm just like, oh, wow, we're going to have a relationship. It's going to be something good. And accepting that the relationship we have is a void relationship. It's a null and void relationship. It's an NA relationship. And I no longer can give that any more energy in my life. I do not desire to be a victim, to be an emotional orphan, if you will. But then, and I don't want to do any more spiritual bypassing with the situation either, meaning absolving her from what she's done to me. I'm no longer going to do that. You hurt me. You victimized me. You did things to me that you still have not really given any type of accountability for. And in my mind, there is no off the hook. There is just me moving forward in grace and power to continue to heal myself. And I'm going to do that by any means necessary. Believe that. I am not going to give up on myself. I am feeling good and free. Even though there's a sense of heaviness or sadness, I do feel that heaviness and sadness being lifted moment by moment as I accept that I am here to make a change in my life. I'm going to go in the higher spiritual philosophy of the contract is fulfilled. She birthed me, and that was what was supposed to happen. She birthed me. My mother birthed me, and I'm super thankful and grateful to be here. That's it. But I'm going to continue in the way I have been getting mothered and getting nurtured, is through nature, through divine source, through people who are willing to nurture me and love me, through myself, through my children, through books, through pets. Like, I'm going to get the nurturing I desire and require. And it's not going to be an uphill battle. It's been easy. The only hard thing has been reserving that space for her to nurture me. And she's made it quite clear she has no desire to do that. She doesn't even know what I'm talking about. She doesn't know what to do. And she thinks it's just my thing. It's not her thing. So it frees me. It frees me. It frees me. And while it hurts, I know it won't hurt forever. Because at the same token, we're all children of God. And what happens is I'm not going to vilify her or demonize her, but I am not going to sugarcoat her apparent emotional mental illness. I am not going to sugarcoat the effects of how she's raised me, how it's affected me. I am not going to sugarcoat and minimize the trauma that I am currently healing from and having. That's a very heavy thing that your mother's basically telling you, like, this is you. It ain't got nothing to do with me. And you've been hurt and victimized by this person. I denied being her victim for so long because I didn't want to shame her. I cannot sacrifice my mind and my heart and my knowing anymore. And I will not. We'll be talking about this more. I'll be sharing with you guys more. I'll be as transparent, as emotionally healthy as it is for me. I made a breakthrough. It was a challenging breakthrough. It wasn't exactly the breakthrough I was looking for. But like I said, I do feel free. And I do feel a renewed sense of, like, when I come back in the spring with my business, my rose water, like everything I'm doing, my writing, the writing, I feel renewed. I feel a sense of strength that I did not have before. And I feel a sense of clarity. Meaning I don't have to babysit that energy anymore. So I'm looking forward to the healing. I'm looking forward to the restoration. I'm looking forward to the resurrection of me. I'm looking forward. That's today's journal entry.